Finally, big changes are coming to the UK bus pass system, and this time they're not just minor updates hidden in small print. Starting the 15th of November 2025, thousands of seniors across England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland could see new rules that affect when and how they travel for free. If you currently enjoy your free bus pass or are about to apply, this is the update you cannot afford to miss. For years, the free bus pass has been one of the most valued benefits for British seniors, giving independence, mobility, and freedom without worrying about rising travel costs. But now, the Department for Transport has officially confirmed that adjustments are being made, and these changes could impact eligibility ages, renewal conditions, and regional concessions. So, what's actually changing? Early details hint that the qualifying age might align more closely with the state pension age, meaning some seniors could have to wait longer before qualifying. In some regions, local councils may introduce income-related assessments or off-peak travel restrictions to manage growing costs. It's all part of a wider review meant to ensure the bus pass system stays sustainable, but it could also mean some people lose benefits they've relied on for years. And it's not all bad news. New funding promises could bring digital smart passes, faster renewals, and better coverage for rural routes. Still, understanding these changes early will help you stay one step ahead, especially if you depend on your pass for daily travel, medical appointments, or visiting family. So, before November 15th arrives, let's break it all down clearly: who keeps their pass, who might lose it, and what steps you can take right now to protect your eligibility. If you care about your travel freedom and want to stay informed about the latest UK benefits and senior updates, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell, because this is just the beginning of what's coming for UK seniors in 2025. Don't miss the details. Your pass and your independence could depend on it. Now let's dive into what's really happening behind these new bus pass changes, because while the headlines might sound alarming, the truth is a bit more complex. The UK government isn't taking away your right to travel, but they are restructuring how it works. And for many seniors, that means you might need to recheck your eligibility, especially if you were born between 1958 and 1961. You see, over the past few years, the number of seniors using free bus passes has grown dramatically. It's one of the few benefits that touches real, everyday lives, whether it's for shopping runs, hospital visits, or simply staying connected. But local councils have been quietly saying for months that funding is becoming stretched thin. And now, it seems the Department for Transport has finally acted. Starting from the 15th of November 2025, the qualifying age for a free bus pass in England will officially align with the state pension age. That means if the pension age increases, so does the bus pass age. It's a move the government says is about fairness and sustainability, but for thousands approaching retirement, it could mean waiting longer before getting that travel freedom. Think about it. If you were counting down the months to your 60th birthday, expecting to finally ride for free, this update could shift your plans by a year or even two. And it's not just age. The eligibility criteria might also involve your place of residence and income thresholds in some regions. Councils in England and Wales have hinted they're exploring pilot schemes to ensure those who truly rely on the bus pass, especially low-income pensioners, remain protected. Let's be honest, the bus pass isn't just a perk. For many, it's a lifeline. It's the difference between isolation and independence. Seniors use it to volunteer, meet friends, and stay active. Without it, even a few bus fares a week can start adding up quickly, especially when the cost of living has already climbed. Now, let's look at why this change is being pushed right now. The government has cited rising operational costs in local transport networks. Fuel prices have gone up, driver wages have increased, and local councils are still recovering from post-pandemic budget gaps. The free bus travel scheme, introduced more than 15 years ago, hasn't been deeply restructured since then. So they're saying this is a modernization effort, a term that sounds harmless but often hides cuts or rebalancing. Interestingly, Scotland and Wales have taken slightly different approaches. In Scotland, free bus travel is already available for everyone aged 60 and over, and even extended to young people under 22. Welsh ministers, meanwhile, are resisting major eligibility changes, arguing that bus passes are a form of social equality and must be preserved. But in England, where most of the budget pressures sit, the changes are moving forward. For seniors who already have their pass, don't panic. you won't lose it immediately. Current pass holders are expected to retain their cards until renewal, which happens every 5 years. However, after November 15th, new applicants may find themselves subject to new rules that could include proof of residence, proof of income in certain local councils, or even digital verification via the new Transport Smart ID platform being tested this year. Now, this Transport Smart ID is something worth paying attention to. The Department for Transport has been piloting a digital pass that integrates directly with your national insurance and pension data. The idea is to make it easier to renew and harder for misuse to occur. But for many seniors, that's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it streamlines access, no more paper renewals or waiting for letters in the mail. On the other hand, it could be challenging for those not familiar with smartphones or online portals. Let's put this into perspective with a simple example. Imagine a woman named Margaret from Manchester, 62 years old, retired early, and relying on her bus pass for weekly trips to see her grandchildren. Under the current rules, she qualifies. But under the new system coming in November, she may have to wait until she reaches the new state pension age threshold, possibly 63 or 64, depending on the year she was born. That's more than a year of extra bus expenses, which could easily total over £400 annually. For someone on a fixed income, that's a big hit. Now, you might be wondering, why didn't the government increase the funding instead of tightening the rules? It's a valid question, and one many advocacy groups are asking. Age UK and the National Pensioners Convention have already voiced concerns, calling this a quiet reduction of rights that could isolate vulnerable seniors. They argue that access to transport isn't just about convenience, it's about equality and inclusion. When people can't get around, they can't participate fully in society. At the same time, the department insists this isn't about cutting anyone off. They say these changes are meant to future-proof the scheme, ensuring it's still around for the next generation of retirees. And to be fair, part of that reasoning makes sense. The UK population is aging faster than ever, and local transport budgets can't grow indefinitely. But the question remains, is this the right way to balance the books? If we look at the bigger picture, these updates tie into a much broader government review of senior mobility benefits that includes not just bus passes, but also blue badges, rail discounts, and community transport services. Officials want to harmonize these systems, meaning they all work together digitally. So, if you renew your bus pass, your blue badge or senior rail card might automatically sync. It's convenient in theory, but also a sign of increasing data integration, something some seniors might find concerning. Now, let's talk about timelines. From what's been revealed, the transition period begins in mid-November 2025, but full enforcement may take up to 6 months. Councils will begin issuing new Smart Travel ID cards in early 2026. During that phase, anyone applying for the first time will have their data checked automatically. Renewals done before that date will still follow the old system, but they'll gradually be migrated to the new platform. For many of you watching, the key takeaway is simple. If your renewal is due soon, get it done before the 15th of November 2025. Doing so ensures you stay on the current criteria until your next renewal cycle. After that, the new rules will likely apply. Another subtle change coming, though not yet widely publicized, involves off-peak travel times. Some councils have requested flexibility to limit free travel during weekday rush hours, particularly in big cities like London, Birmingham, and Manchester. The logic is that buses are overcrowded, and they want to prioritize working commuters during peak hours. That might mean senior passes will only be valid after 9:30 a.m. or outside peak periods in certain areas. It's not universal yet, but several pilot programs have already been approved. For rural communities, however, there's a silver lining. Extra funding from the Local Transport Support Fund could expand rural routes, add accessible buses, and even offer community shuttle services. These updates aim to make sure seniors in smaller towns and villages don't get left behind. So, while urban areas might face restrictions, rural areas could see new opportunities. If you're thinking, this sounds confusing, you're not alone. In fact, local councils are expected to launch public awareness campaigns this autumn to help seniors understand what's changing. Expect to see letters, posters at bus stops, and online announcements explaining the steps to recheck eligibility. If you're not tech-savvy, many libraries and community centers will have dedicated staff or volunteers ready to help you apply online or update your details. Let's pause here and be honest, these changes can feel frustrating. Seniors have earned these benefits through decades of work, taxes, and contribution. Having to requalify can feel like being pushed aside, but understanding the rules now gives you power. It lets you prepare, adjust, and make sure you don't lose what you're entitled to. And remember, not every change is negative. Some of these updates, like faster digital renewals and improved route funding, could genuinely make travel smoother in the long run. Let's also address one big question people keep asking in the comments. Will existing passes stop working after November 15th? The answer is no, not immediately. The passes you already hold will remain valid until their printed expiry date. However, when you go to renew, that's when the new eligibility requirements will be checked. So, if you're due for renewal in 2026, that's when you'll face the updated system. It's also worth noting that England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland all manage their own versions of the concessionary travel scheme. So, while the national framework is shifting, local details will vary. For example, Northern Ireland is expected to keep its 60-plus Smart Pass unchanged for now, thanks to separate funding arrangements. Scotland remains committed to universal access at age 60. England, however, will see the biggest changes due to funding pressures at the council level. Let's take a quick moment to imagine the bigger picture again. Picture a retired couple in Leeds, John and Anne, who both rely on their passes for hospital visits and shopping trips. Under the new age alignment, Anne qualifies at 66, but John, who's just 63, doesn't yet meet the pension age threshold. That means for 3 years, they'll need to pay for one ticket each time they travel together. Multiply that by months, and suddenly that free travel benefit feels like a luxury again. Now, think about how this might affect communities overall. When fewer seniors can travel freely, footfall in local high streets drops. Coffee shops, charity stores, and local markets lose some of their most loyal customers. Community centers see fewer visitors. The ripple effect is larger than most people realize. That's why so many advocacy groups are urging the government to reconsider parts of this plan or introduce a means-tested partial subsidy to cushion the impact. We're also hearing about potential transition relief for those close to the current qualifying age, something like a temporary extension or a phased rollout. While that hasn't been confirmed yet, it's possible local authorities will be allowed to grant discretionary passes during the transition year. That's something worth keeping an eye on, and we'll update you as soon as those details become public. It's fascinating to see how something as simple as a bus pass can reveal so much about social priorities. For seniors, it's not just about getting from one place to another. It's about maintaining dignity and freedom. It's the ability to plan your day without worrying about the cost of a short trip. Losing that independence, even temporarily, can affect mental health and quality of life. Another thing you might notice come November is the introduction of new bus card designs. The new Smart Travel ID cards will have QR codes, making them compatible with modern ticketing systems. They'll replace magnetic strips and paper versions over time. This digital integration means you'll be able to tap in and out like contactless cards, faster and more secure. Some regions will even introduce an optional smartphone version for those who prefer carrying it digitally. Now, some people are asking whether this is the start of phasing out physical passes altogether. The government says no, at least not yet. They've committed to keeping physical cards available for those who don't use smartphones. But in the long term, we might see a hybrid system, similar to how banking shifted from checks to apps over a decade. So, what can you do right now? First, double-check your renewal date. If you're due before November 15th, renew early to stay under the old rules. Second, make sure your local council has your correct address and contact details. Many updates will arrive by post. And finally, stay informed. Don't rely solely on word of mouth. Official council websites and the gov.uk bus pass eligibility page are the most reliable sources. And if you're a family member watching this on behalf of your parents or grandparents, please take a few minutes to help them understand these changes. Sit with them, open the renewal site, and guide them through the process. These small acts can make a huge difference, especially for those who might not be comfortable online. Over the next few months, we'll see more clarity, more official statements, more pilot programs, and possibly even some pushback from local governments. But what's clear right now is that this marks a new chapter in how senior mobility benefits are managed. It's not the end of the free bus pass, but it is a redefinition of who qualifies and how it's delivered. So, stay alert, stay informed, and don't wait until the last moment to act. November the 15th of May seem far away, but the changes leading up to it, the policy adjustments, the database updates, the new cards, they're already in motion behind the scenes. So if you're someone you love relies on a bus pass, now's the time to prepare. In upcoming videos, we'll break down council by council updates, real case examples, and even tips on how to appeal if your renewal gets delayed. Until then, let's keep this conversation going, because mobility isn't a luxury, it's a right. Drop a comment below with your city or town, and let's see how these changes might affect your area. And if you found this video helpful, please hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next important update for UK seniors. Your support helps us keep spreading awareness, and together we can make sure every senior in Britain stays informed, prepared, and heard.